Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here with video 2 for the Christmas Advent Bookcase. And what we're going to be doing today is creating all of the pieces that are going to go into our bookcase. And the primary objective here is to create these little book boxes that are going to be like your little Advent, like secret hiding places, okay? So there are two sizes, and I'm going to make a couple of each size so that you know how to do both of them, even though the construction is exactly the same. They're just slightly different shape. This one's more square, this one's more rectangle, this one's thicker, this one's thinner. So just kind of getting you used to, putting them together. What I am going to recommend, though, is compartmental making for this one. Okay, so for this process, you need the book covers and you need the bases, okay? Now, the ones with the pink or red on it, I think of it as pink, but I guess it's more red, I'll go with the short ones, and then these with the brown and the green, they go with the taller books, okay? Now, the easiest way to do this is to do it one step at a time for everything, okay? So basically, you will have cut these out, score these, fold these, and then then you're going to just get ready to do your assembly, okay? So I'm going to start by assembling bases, and then I'll assemble books, okay? The outside book covers. So we're going to start with, let's start with this color. This is the small ones. These are the pinkish, reddish, colorish. Okay, so what you need to do is decide what you want on the inside, what you want on the outside. I printed this on the back, and this is what it looks like in the printable. So what I'm going to do here is I want this to be the inside of my box, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these little tabs in towards the middle, because what you're going to do is you're going to fold these up, and then this is going to fold over those tabs, okay? So the fastest way to do this, guy, is to grab your glue and get the glue plug off of it if you have a glue press here. And then you're going to just add a little glue here and add a little glue here, okay? Then you're going to pop these up like this, okay? Press this in. You will be able to feel it with your fingertips on the corners. You'll feel the corner with your fingertips of your thumb tips, and then just press it, okay? Same thing on this side. With this method, you can have these done in no time. I tried a whole bunch of different ways of gluing it. Do not bother putting glue on the tabs, because it takes so much longer to do it that way. Okay, so then fold that in. Check your corners with your thumbs. You will get the feel of it. After you do, the first one you do will not go quick. It'll be a little slower, but then all you need to do is put glue on this one side here, and then fold this side down into that, okay? I would recommend having a bone folder or some kind of tool that you can use to just press these down and make sure you've got nice square corners, okay? I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to put the glue here and then fold this down, and then we're just going to press it, okay? It is kind of scary to make this many boxes all at once, and at first I was like, a little bit intimidated by it, but once it gets going, it is super fast, okay? Just make sure you pre-fold all these folds, and it will go even faster for you. Okay, so we're going to do it again. This is my inside. I'm going to fold my tabs in, okay, so that my tabs are in and these flaps are out, okay? And then I'm going to glue on both sides of these tabs. Okay, so you want to glue the top and well, actually, what's the top and the bottom? You want to glue the inside and the outside. Let's call it that. You want to glue the inside and the outside on both sides, because you want your tag to be sandwiched in there, okay? Your tabs sandwiched in there. Apologies. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna glue all the way on this side. Okay, and then I'm just gonna press this up. I have these already here. I'm gonna press this up, press this in, and then I'm just gonna take my bone folder and I'm going to press those down. You don't always have to do that. I'll be honest, just if you think it needs extra pressure, just do it. Okay, so now for this one, I'm only putting glue on this inside tab here, or the inside wall. Here. And then this one, I like to have the bone folder because it's going into this corner here, and so I want to make sure it's flat. Okay, and then the same thing here. I'm only going to put it on this one tab, and then I am going to fold it in, just like that. And then just like that, you have an adorable little box. I mean, like, I hope it's not intimidating, and it does feel like it's going fast. So, I could do this, like, now that I have, like, once you have a system, you know, you could do it I could do it for hours. I got that here. It's super relaxing, especially if you have, like, a good book or a good podcast to listen to, depending on if your podcasts are on YouTube, because they're all on YouTube now. But yeah, so this is pretty quick. Just use your thumbs to feel those to make sure they're pressed in. And then once that side's done, this side is pretty much in place. So make sure you do glue on both sides, because you want to make sure your tabs are sandwiched with glue. And one more. And I'm also going to do 3 of the big ones, because I do think repetition, you know, that's the path to mastery. So there we go. And I'm just going to put it on one side for these shorter ones on the ends. And then this side. My desk and my fingers are a little green today because I was messing around with dyeing, what do you call it? Dyeing mummy cloth. And so everything got, like, just coated in green. And just fold that one down. And do my little glue situation in there. Okay, so that's that one. And now I'm going to do these guys. Okay, so it's the same exact process. Make sure your tabs are folded in. Okay, and that's why it helps to have these, like, pre-folded. On some of them, there was ones that I forgot to fold, you know, in. So it's not a big deal if you have to do it, like, on the fly. I just like to, it just goes a lot faster if everything's already pre-folded. But I know these have a lot of folds on them, so it's very easy to miss one. I missed one on the last one. So I just pre-folded it right before I glued it. Because then everything just kind of bends into place. Okay, so just push in on the end with your fingers, and you can totally feel it, you know, as you're folding it over, you can feel it on your fingers if you've got the corner square, or if it's, like, overlapping the wrong way. Okay, and here. I think that one of my sides needs a little extra pressure too. And then this one. And then if you notice, like, anything needing extra pressure, just go ahead and do that. And then this will be all stuck together and square and ready to become part of your book box. Okay, so we're gonna do here, I'm gonna do this side here. I'm gonna fold this up. And fold this over. Just make sure you're pressing in on the ends as you're pressing this fold down. I'm not being shy with the glue. You know, your mileage may vary. I just want it to be like firmly stuck together. You know what I mean? In a couple cases, it's possible that I use too much glue, but the worst case scenario, it dries clear, so I don't think you're going to see it, and then it'll give my inside a little extra coating and a little strength. Okay, so just the one side on this here, and we're going to flip this one over here. So all in all, pretty quick. I'm going to do one more here. And then we'll be all set and we'll do our books. Okay, so fold in the tabs. And then we're going to do this here. Fold this up. And fold this over. Oops, I didn't push my tabs in on the edge. Just make sure you're pushing your tabs in on the edge there, because that will help get your box to be the right shape. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Glue on the both sides of the fold there, and then just right over the edge. Push those in. Once you know they're in, you can go ahead and put some pressure on it. And this one here. All right, and then the last one, just on the one side. You could glue on both sides. There's no reason not to. It's just that, you know, it holds together just fine on gluing on one side. Okay, so now we have all of our bottoms done. So I'm just going to have these over here for right now. And then we're going to do these. Okay, so for these ones here, the way this, you can do this however you want, but I would recommend that you take this as the front of the box. These are the pages. I put pages on both sides here, so that goes over the top just like that, okay? And then that way the seam is down. And then you can also ink your edges here just to get rid of that little bit of white that's going to show up there. I actually put my boxes together and then did some inking, so, you know, it could go either way. Okay, so a little bit of glue there, and just kind of line it up. You're going to probably have to hold that for a second, because I noticed that if I didn't hold it for a second, it slides around a little bit. And then you can just put a little pressure on it. What I noticed is one of the better tools, whoops, I'm knocking stuff over, for this job is like one of these shaper tools. You could just put that in there and it just does the pressing down for you. Okay, so these are the smaller ones. So these are the ones that are going to go with these books here. This one's still a little bit wet. And there that goes. So that's how that goes in there. Let's do a couple more of these. Okay, so glue on the bottom tab here. And then just wrap this right over. Line up your edges here. You can just see on that one because it's really white. Hold that for just a second till you feel the, like, you know, everything's in the right place. And then you can just do a little pressure there. And that one's done. Okay, so same deal here. Fold that over. Put the glue on it. So you're basically putting it so that the glue goes, oops, I forgot to fold this one. Okay, so the glue goes, or I'm sorry, the edge goes down. I got distracted because I started The reason why that one's not folded is because I had like a printing fiasco and I had to reprint this sheet, so it kind of got out of the rotation of everything else. And I started to think about that. I don't know why, but it just popped into my head. So, all right, so that's those ones. These are the bigger ones. Okay, so these are a little bit smaller, or thinner, I guess. Thinner. Okay, so here we go with these. So this is gonna go down like that. Okay, so make sure this is the cover. So the cover is just basically going how a normal book cover would go, at least in my neck of the woods. I know some books open from right to left. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. And I'm just going to put a little pressure on that. And there's that one. And then let's do this one here. So I'm going to put the glue on this tab. And then I'm going to fold this tab down. Also, I'm going to get some of this glue off my fingers. You do get a lot of glue on your fingers in this process, particularly making the boxes. But, you know, it's pretty minimal. It's basically these, you know, like your pointer finger. All right, so I'm going to push this down, and I'm just going to put that in there. Make sure everything's all lined up, and then we're going to do this one. All right. Oops. One. All right, so last one here. Glue goes on here. And then we're just going to fold this down. And I'm just going to flip that over. And do a little out there. Okay, so I'm going to stack these guys up to the side. I'm going to wait till these drawers dry before I put any more of them in, because I already put one in, and I don't want to, like, they're very malleable when the glue is still wet, so it's easy to bend them out of shape. So I would recommend waiting until the glue dries. So it doesn't take that long to dry, but I would just make sure it's dry before you start shoving the drawers into the covers. Okay, so now what we're going to do is move on to making these guys here, which are these little mini books that actually, these are just basically for styling your bookshelf. Like if you want to have some extra little books on there, or if you are making more of a decorative bookshelf, like not with the Advent books, just more like the Halloween bookcase. So I'm going to show you guys how we make these books. They're pretty fun and easy to make. So what you're going to need for this process is either strips of book pages or strips of the pages that I printed in the kit. So there's like 2 different Christmas books in there. There's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas and A Christmas Carol. So not super original there, but both in the public domain and completely legal to use. So there's those. Okay, so basically here's what I'm going to do here is I have this book cover here. What I did was I looked at this here and I figured, okay, so it's 1 inch and about 1/4. Okay, so I cut myself a piece of cardstock that's about 1 1/4 inches, and I folded it in half and put washi tape on it to make it a little stronger. You don't need to do that. That's what I did here. So then I cut my strips, okay, to be the height of the book, okay? So the height of the book is about 2 inches, okay? So you need 2-inch wide strips, okay? And then what we're going to do here is I'm going to use my little guide that's the width of the book, which is 1 1/4 inches. I hope I'm not being confusing. I know once numbers start getting to the game, I start tuning out. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to use this as a template here to fold our pages accordion style. Now, you don't need to use this little piece of cardstock to do this. It does, for me personally, it takes the thinking out of it. So that's why I'm using it. This is Tim Holtz's little mini book method. And I think it works really, really well for the mini books. I personally, he puts tons of pages in his. I put less in mine. So I'll show you. Usually what I do is fold, like, that's just the one. But you can put 4 together at once, especially if you have thin paper. If you're using thicker paper, you might want to do 2 or 3, or just try it out just to be sure. But I'm going to make that first fold here. And if I can do 4 of these at once, like so fast, right? And you can also just accordion fold them by hand. Everybody's, brain works a little differently. So different methods are going to be easier for different people. And if you made the Halloween bookcase, you totally know how to do this already. So I'm just going to trim this off so it's even at the end there. I don't have to trim much off, but all right, I'm going to do a couple more just really quickly, because then we'll have them, because I don't have any pre-done because I used all mine up making those other books there. And then if you want to do a smaller book, you just need to use the dimensions for the smaller book. So this one's 1 inch wide, so you need 1 inch wide piece of cardstock, and it is about 1.5 inches high. So your strips for these books should be about 1.5 inches wide here. Okay. I'll write this down, so don't worry about having to remember any of this. And we're not looking for perfection here, so you'll see in a second when I go ahead and put everything in. If you've never done this before, you'll see how it ends up working, and how perfection is not the name of this game. Okay. All right. So I have this book cover here. I like them to be a little bent up, so you can kind of mess around with them a little, wrinkle them up a little, whatever you want to do. I folded it a bunch of times to make sure that these folds were like really worn in. Okay, so now I've got my book. This is the front. I figured I need about 6 of these. All right, so I can get 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I need 2 more. All right, and all I'm going to do is stack these guys on top of each other. This is encyclopedia paper. It's very thin, but I really love it for this particular project. It gets, it takes the ink really well. It gets a little bit raggy, so it's perfect for this. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of pile these together. I'm going to loosely let them like rest like this, so they get as, like, I can get them as flat as possible on the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a clip, and you may use, it can be any kind of clip, just as long as it can hold this together. I totally let that slip. Sorry. All right, so let's do that. And then we're going to clip that on there. Okay, so now this side is actually going to be the side that goes in the spine. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to use a glue gun, and you can use regular glue as well. You just need to let it dry. That's the only difference between this. This will be, I'll just be able to smoothly go through this because this glue does not need to dry. It'll just cool right off. So basically what you want to do is you're looking to really get your glue in there like that. Okay, then we're going to flip it over, and I'm going to run it along my glass mat don't press it into the mat. You're just looking to create kind of a flat edge on there, okay? And I would recommend not do, I mean, test your surface. This is a glass mat, so it'll peel like right off of here. So that's like not a big deal. But if your desk is not made of glass, definitely check your surfaces before you start rubbing, you know, hot glue on them. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a little bit more glue in the spine here. And then we're just going to take our book block that we made and we are going to press it in there. Okay. And I'm just going to press it down as well as I can. I can take that off now. And I'm just pressing it right into the thing so the glue sticks and the spine goes like right up against it. Okay, so now the next thing to do is to trim off your edges here. And I find these recoil scissors to be superior for this job, but any like sharp, smaller scissor, I find the bigger scissors don't work as good. Or as well. That's my grammar, huh? Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut these through. I don't like to do a lot of pages at once. I like to like do only a few at once because it doesn't turn out as nice if I do too many. And like I said, I'm not looking for it to be like completely even and perfect, but I also don't want it to be like jaggy where the scissors got caught, you know, or something like that. All right, so I'm going to take a look here at the end of this. That here. And then you can just kind of work your way through here. There's a lot of different methods for making these little mini books. So you can, you know, if you don't love this method, you could definitely go look around and, you know, I'm sure if you just put it into YouTube, you'll see tons of different people making this, tons of different ways. Everybody's got their kind of own little quirk about it. So let's see if I can get that off of there. And then I'm just going to do a quick little trim here at the top because there's not much sticking out here at the top. And it is fun to kind of have a little bit of stuff sticking out, like it's like an old book. Sometimes you'll get a loose page too, which will look really cute when it is kind of like just jam it back in there, and then it'll be like sticking out kind of crooked, and it will definitely make this whole situation look a lot older. Where did I do that? Okay, here it is. I'm just gonna try to, this doesn't have a lot of ink on it right now, but it'll make it look a little bit dirty, which is kind of like, basically I just want it to look a little bit aged, because these are the books I'm going to be using to decorate with, not necessarily to use like to look inside, you know what I mean, like the boxes. I got a little bit more ink there, and if you want you can ink the insides of the covers to make it look a little bit more old. If you know what you're going to be doing with it, you know, you might want to style it a little bit differently, but that's basically how you do those, guys. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on those because they are basically, you know, those are just like little quick bonus books there. And so they're pretty easy to do, and you don't need a lot of stuff to do them. So there's extra book covers in there for you if you want to do that. And if you want to watch me do that one, there's also, I can also post the Halloween video where you can watch me do that again if you want, or you can just keep watching that same book. But it's pretty easy and quick. I'm just getting the glue off my mat here. My mat already has suffered greatly today with a lot of green ink because I was dyeing stuff. So, okay. So now the next thing that we're going to do is our presents. Okay, so we have two kinds of boxes. We have this one here, which has a lid. Okay, so basically this is similar, but not exactly the same as the box that we did for, let's see, the explosion box. It's got a similar lid. The rest of it's not the same. But basically what you're just going to do is glue these corners together. Obviously, like, I put too much glue here, but just the tiniest dab will do it. So it may help to put it on the table too, just to keep it flat, because I realize everything in this kit is kind of tiny. So, all right, and then we're just going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to try putting my glue on the inside of this instead of the tabs and see how that goes. Okay, so I got that one there. Just give that a good press. This one here. All right, and then we've got that's basically our lid. Okay, and then now we have our box bottom, which should be pretty easy. These sides just fold in, and then we're gonna glue them to the little, what do you call it? The sides of the box. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm gonna do both of these tabs here. And then I'm just gonna put those in. I'm gonna turn this to the desk so that it's flat for sure. All right, here we go. Okay, and then we'll do this side, and then we'll have a cute little present. This one here, it's always so much easier to do the second one because it's kind of already knows where it's supposed to go. Okay, there's that guy. All right, there's my lid. And where did I put? Okay, here it is. So I'm going to put the little... I'm going to do my corners here. Okay, and then we're just going to pop our little lid on here. And we have a small present. I would not call this a mini present, but I also have like this. I thought it might be fun to put ribbon on them, like actual ribbon. Because there's nothing saying you can't use this for one of your Advent boxes as well if you need a bigger one. Because you could do books and boxes. Let's see if I can get this to work. This ribbon is super uncooperative. It does not want to do ribbon things. Here we go. See what I mean? It's just like, it's doing its own thing. This ribbon does not like me in the least. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. Okay, so this is going to go here. Okay, so who says I put a dot of glue under here? just so this behaves itself, because I'm getting very frustrated with it. Okay. The other thing you could do too, I was thinking, was just put the ribbon around the box lid so that you can take it off, you know, if you don't want to actually put, you know, if you want to have this be openable, basically. I think this would be super cute. I didn't show you guys the flowers yet. I'll show you the flower in a second. This would be so cute if I put a little flower on it. All right. All right, so 5 hours later, we have a present with a bow. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do this box. This box kind of rolls up and folds in on itself. This is the, this is the actual top of it right here. So if you want to be able to open and close it, don't glue this tab here and don't glue these two tabs right here, okay? So basically what we're going to do here is make sure that our tabs are really pressed well. The folds are good on those so that when we go to attach them together like this, they'll just pop right out, okay? So I'm just going to put a little glue on this guy. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Don't put the glue on that one. This is the side you're going to put the glue on. I'm going to make sure that's pressed in. Okay. Here we go with that. And then I'm going to line these two sides up like so. And then glue those. You may want tweezers for this job. Just kind of depending on the situation. Making tiny stuff can be a little bit of a pain. All right, so I'm just going to hold on to that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to push my tab out a little bit. And I'm going to be gentle so I don't want to separate my other tag, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's put this in here. I'm going to put that down, and then I'm going to press it down here. Oops. I just dropped those on the floor. Okay, let's use this instead. I hope I didn't drop them on Pickle because he suddenly stopped snoring when they fell down. Okay. All right, so we got those two in, and then we just need to get the front one in. Okay. It's just like being patient, basically. Don't do this part if you're in a hurry. Ooh, come on, a little bit of glue. Okay. This is the part where the tweezers would be handy. Okay, so I'm going to push this one in here. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to just kind of press these guys in. I'm going to use my skinny side here for that one. And then this one. And then basically once you have it all together, you just need to leave it alone to dry. That one was not inside. Okay, there we go. Because if you goof with it too much, it'll fall apart. Okay, this actually worked really well for this whole process. Okay, and then this kind of folds in and goes in like this, and if you want, you can glue it, or you can leave it the way that it is. And there's two of these. The other one looks like this, and it's the same process to do that. I'm just going to put a little ink around the edges here. I'll do the other one really quickly too, so that we can just have it done twice, just in case you were like, and how did that go? Okay. I think I might glue my box together. I'm not sure. If I want to tie, like, put a ribbon on it, we'll see. Let's wait and see. I'm going to leave that alone, and then we're just going to do this guy really quickly, and then we will be on to flowers. Okay, so let's do number 2 here. This is the one that has the, like, little poinsettia pattern on it. I realized that when I was looking at this, that my scanning cut needs to be calibrated, and it cut the tabs really tiny on one side, so they won't be quite as tiny for you as they are on mine, as long as you don't, you know, cut them too close. But they're much bigger on this side than they are on this side. So okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. Remember, this is the top with this here. So we are going to start with the bottom of the sides. Okay, so this is the sides. So we're going to glue the bottom up like this, okay? All right, so the glue is going on these 2 sides here. This one is very tiny. Okay, and remember, mine's only tiny because of the way it's cut out, so this one's much better on this side. I was pretty sure I glued it on the wrong side, but I didn't. Okay, so then we're going to roll this up and just glue this here. I think my technique's going to be better on this one. I've made like 4 or 5 of these, but it takes a bunch of times to really get a method going, and there's only 2 of these boxes in the kit, so. Oh wait, no, that's not the one I want. I want this one. All right, so I'm just going to use this little tool to kind of press this down, because if you don't press it down, it's probably not going to stay. Okay. I'll go to this side here. Do this one. Just make sure I'm getting that flap. Sometimes I wonder about the things that I'm doing for crafting, but here we go. Okay, so this tab needs to be on the inside. These both need to be on the inside, so make sure they're pressed to the inside here, because we're going to put this up and then glue them to these inside walls here. I'm going to put the glue on the walls this time and see if that works any better. Okay, so I'm going to fold this guy up, and then once you have this done, it's pretty much glued. You just have to tuck your top in if you want, or you can glue it if you're not going to open it. Okay, I'm not exactly sure if that was the best. I'm not sure if the glue on the inside is a good idea or not a good idea. These are very fiddly. Okay, so once you finally get everything to stick, you're just going to do a little pressure on them. This one needs to come out a little. Right, and then your lid can just pop right in there. They do need to be held until the glue sticks, unfortunately, but just depending on what kind of glue you have there. This might be cute if we had it open and then we had stuff inside of it. So let's leave that option there. Maybe I'll glue that one shut. Okay, Now we're going to move on to the flowers. Okay, so you're going to need these little flowers, the little leaves. If you don't want to use these flowers, you could certainly use whatever flowers you have on hand. I love making them, so I'm going to make these for mine. So I'm going to use these yellow stamens that I got off of Amazon. They were part of the same set that I got for Halloween, so I had these left over. So I'm going to go ahead and use these. You could use glitter, you could use a bead, you could use a pearl, you could use a flat back charm, anything. You could use a brad, anything. You know, a Nouveau Drops, any, you know, whatever you have on hand. Okay, so I did use not rustic wilderness. I used forest moss to ink the edges of my leaves because that is the color that I had. I didn't have an imperfect selection of greens, but I do like this forest moss color. It's a nice dark kind of green, so I like it. All right, so here's what we're going to do for these. Okay, I am going to use one of these little handy shaping tools. If you do not have a shaping tool, you could use the end of a paintbrush. This one's a little bit big, but it's the paintbrush that's on my desk right now. So just, you know, look around, find something with a rounded end in your house and use that if you don't have a shaping tool. And then you also need a sponge, a piece of foam, or a mouse pad, or anything of that nature like this. This is a piece of foam. I'm going to use that. And that will let you shape your flowers. So definitely, you know, use whatever you have on hand. So what I'm going to do here for mine, because I'm going to use the stamens, I'm going to go ahead and poke a hole in the center first. And I'm just going to use this hole punch here to do it. I'm going to hope I get it in the center here. It's kind of hard to tell. Okay, so now I have a hole in the middle. And I'm just going to take this one here, and I'm just going to go around in a circle. If you want to, you can like do each petal in like this, but really the circle gets the job done. Okay, so now I have the circle done. Now I'm going to take this little guy here, twist this, and put it through the middle. And then just give that a pull. Okay, and then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put that down for 1 second. Okay, so now I've got some of these leaves here. So what I'm going to do here with these guys is I'm just going to go down the center of them. So they kind of curl up. I really could use a smaller one, but I don't think I have a smaller one. So I'm just going to go right down the center of those just so they curl up a little bit. And then I'm going to get my flower back. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue right on the hole that I made here. Okay. And then we're going to grab the leaves and we're going to put those on there. And I'm going to try not to burn my fingers. Sorry about the rattling there. All right, so I'm going to grab my leaf here, and just kind of, the first one doesn't really matter. You can just kind of stick it on there. Oops. I wanted to bend this. There we go. That's better. Okay, I'm going to have to re-glue for that leaf. Actually, I can just use normal glue for that. I find the hot glue can be a little frustrating because I have a tendency to burn my fingers on it. All right, now that there's a little bit of glue on there, we can just add the leaf. And then I'm going to flip it over, make sure I like where it is. The first one, usually you don't have to worry about placement because you can just work off of it for the second one. I'm just going to hold it for a sec there. Sorry about all the glue holding in this video. Okay. And then I'm just going to do the other one right here. I'm going to do the same thing so I can get this like kind of right here. I like having the little holly leaves sticking out from the back here a lot. That's why I like, even though it's fiddly and kind of annoying, I love how it turns out. So I feel like it's worth the little bit of extra effort here just to get those into place. Okay, so that's the first one there. Hopefully you guys can see that. And I'm just going to do another one. I won't do a ton because I don't want to, you know, waste your time or make this video too long, but I'll just do a couple here, and then we'll have those for the next video. Oh, that was bad. I'm going to do another one because that was not even close to the center. I should just use a pokey tool. That one's better. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go with this one. Oh, I'm going to do my shaping, and then I'm going to go with that. Okay, so just like around here. And you don't have to really worry about it. It'll just curl right up, and you'll be in good shape. I've got ink everywhere. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that one through there. Pull that. And I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue here just to get that where I want it. And flip this guy over. And I'm just going to kind of shape it the way that I want it before the glue dries. I didn't burn myself at least, right? Okay. All right, now I'm going to do 2 more of these little leaves here and attach those. Keep losing my tweezers. So I'm just going to put that one right on there. In retrospect, it would have been a better idea if I had like printed green on the back of these, but I don't think it's going to be super noticeable, you know, once I put these on the bookshelf. But it would have been more prudent to use like the green or even one of the patterned papers on the back of this. But I just basically printed that kind of starry pattern on the back of everything. Oh, come on. No, no, no. I just knocked my other one off. See if we like the leaf placement here. Okay, so I'm going to hold that for just a second. Okay, and then the only other thing that I wanted to show you in this video really quickly was what I'm going to do for candles. Okay, I'm just going to put this guy aside to dry. All right, so let me put this aside here temporarily, and we will just move right on to candles really quick. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show you was candles. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do for candles in my bookcase. It's not going to be like a big deal or anything like that. I just wanted to have a couple candles in there. So what I did is I got my handy dandy birthday candles that I got for 79 cents. And I just turned them into a little candle grouping. They are very easy to work with and they're easy to cut. So basically all I did was I took my scissors and I cut them into different sizes. You could certainly burn them if you wanted to. I try not to do too much fire in my craft room. So basically you can just kind of get them to the size that you want. do that one. I think I'm going to do like 5 of them on this one. And just see how this looks. Okay, I'm going to use hot glue to stick them together because I did try to melt them together, which you can do. It's just a little bit more dangerous, I think. So the glue doesn't love to stick to the first candle, but once you get it to the first candle, let me just see if how my sizes are here. And if I need to, like, they're not too bad. Okay. All right, so this is here. So I'm just going to kind of put the hot glue on the candle, like, yay. And then I just need to get the other candle stuck to it. Once you have that initial candle base situation going, then it's easier to get the other candles to stick. All right, so now I'm going to put the glue in the cradle here between these 2 candles. I hope you guys can see. I know it's kind of hard on the white. And then I'm going to stick this guy here, right on that, and just hold that all together. It can be a little fragile initially. I may want this one to be a little bit shorter. I also cut I cut mine afterwards too last time. Like, if I didn't, you know, you can cut the whole thing. It's very easy to cut through. Yeah, let's put it right there. So just right into that little thing right there. And because my candles are completely white, I decided to, oops, I just knocked that one off. Ah! This guy said it doesn't love the hot glue. Maybe I should have used, what's that stuff called? The Fabri-Tac. Here. And then I'm going to put one, oops, wrong glue. I'm going to put one more right here. Okay, now I'm gonna let this dry. Once it's dry, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it, or dry or hard. Like once it's hardened, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it, so that everything is the exact same length. I wonder if I should do I add another one? What do I do? Do I add this to it? Do I have like a huge candle situation? Okay, so what I also got out was, and you could use anything that you have like for this, but I have this Nuvo embellishment mousse. It's kind of like this, it's called Mother of Pearl, and it's just a little bit off white, and I just rubbed it all over the candles so that they would be shiny without really, I didn't want to change their color, but I just wanted it to be a little bit more festive, I guess would be the word for this. All right, and now that I have this little candle grouping, what I'm going to do is I'll style it in the next video when we do our bookcase. And we can just use all different, you know, little elements to decorate this with a little bit. You could put a wreath around it, or some greenery, or some fabric. I have tons of ideas, so I'm going to show you those in the next video. So that is the end of all of the things that we needed to make for this video, and then we're just going to move forward into the actual decorating. So I will see you in the next video.